Hey, it's been a while. Where do I even begin? I caught COVID, which is why I stopped making videos for a while. To anyone who's concerned, I'm doing much better now. I had nearly all of the symptoms except the main important ones, which was inability to breathe and loss of taste. Fun fact, I can't taste sweet food, but I had that before I got COVID. So I was really hoping that when I caught COVID, I'd be able to taste sweet food after, like it could cancel out. Spoiler, it didn't work. Here's a very niche meme about Monster Cat. I came back to talk about a topic that actually got really big within Twitter as of late, and it's a topic that I have a lot of very strong personal feelings about. I do find it kind of funny that this is what got me back to making videos, but I really wanted to make this video because, well, I really wanted to. Also, before people ask, yes, I dyed my hair. I bleached it blonde, and then I dyed it silver, and then who knows, maybe I'll shave my head next week. We'll see. Shoot, I forgot to put my studio cast behind me. 1 second. There we go, that's a bit better. Yesterday after I got home after a long day, I was scrolling my Twitter feed and I saw this tweet from @MariaSouthgate, which said, "Imagine seeing an artist announce a release, making a bootleg of that release, editing the artwork to use as your own, announcing it the same week, and then dropping it on the same day. The audacity of this scene sometimes." While Maria here doesn't actually list specifically who she's referring to, the person that this retweet is referring to is actually a tweet that I saw earlier, which was from Styx, Gabriel Butler. Disco Bloodbath, Styx remix, out February 19th, 2022. Hey, me from the future. I just wanted to record two things, one for right now and one that you'll see at the end of the video. The first thing is that I only found out until after I recorded the entire video, but Styx goes by the pronouns they, them. Throughout the entire video, I used the pronouns he, him. I'm going to try to edit as much of it as I can so that at the very least, when I refer to Styx as he, him, that I will have correct subtitles for they, them. And then secondly, there were a number of people that referred to Styx as a kid online. I do not personally know Styx's age, but I do feel like it should be established that Styx is not a kid. I am near certain that they are at least not a minor, but I don't necessarily want to confirm or deny it. But just because some people might want to minimize the situation as just a kid doing something, Styx is not a kid. That's all. Back to the video. Now, originally, I didn't really think much of this interaction simply because people making bootlegs of music isn't new. If anyone doesn't know, a bootleg is basically just an unofficial remix. Anyone who follows me knows that my entire existence basically started by me bootlegging mashups a day or a couple days after the song came out. That was my niche. Most people getting into the music industry tend to start off by trend chasing. That's why people enjoy making frickin' Among Us remix trap beats or Squid Game theme remixes right after. And this isn't even something that's exclusive to smaller artists, because off the top of my head, I can think of probably one of the biggest mashups of trending topics right now, and that's Do It To It by A-Craze with a Squid Game music mashup remix by Barely Alive. Remixing is just part of music culture. Now, why would this specific bootleg be a bit on the nose? Well, the original song is Disco Bloodbath by Space Laces, and Space Laces announced an EP that would be releasing on the 18th of February, which means this bootleg is releasing the day after. I'm not going to try to divert or lie because, quite frankly, anybody who releases something right after another artist can be seen as either trend chasing, clout chasing, of the sort. While people typically do these types of things to get themselves into the game, to get them sort of their name out, at the end of the day, if it's just for the love of the music and expressing your appreciation for an artist, there isn't going to be much hurt or much lost. As some like to call it, Space Laces being the second coming of Jesus Christ as an EDM figure, Styx is quite literally a drop of water in a massive ocean. But the idea of remixing or bootlegging music right after or shortly after a song comes out isn't necessarily new. And I don't think people should treat it as something that's new. It's existed for decades at this point, and it's just part of the natural ecosystem. There do come a couple questions that come to mind. How could Styx have a bootleg that comes out the day after an EP? Well, when you look into it, Disco Bloodbath has actually existed for about 12 years now, and has already been officially released once. Quite literally, if I wanted to, I could have remixed this song while I was still in elementary school. Disco Bloodbath is slightly more than just half of my age. I'm 22, by the way, I know I'm a boomer. And as I mentioned earlier, this song already exists on a voltage mix. So for all intents and purposes, Disco Bloodbath has already been released. Yes, it hasn't been released as its own standalone song, but it has existed as an official release. At the end of the day, is it a bit iffy in practice to release a song shortly after an artist releases theirs? Yeah, the argument can be made. Is it the worst thing in the world? In my opinion, Quite frankly, no. Styx isn't taking anything from Space Laces, and if anything, they're bringing together their audiences to bring even more momentum towards Disco Bloodbath, or in this case, the EP that's coming out on the 18th. That said, any momentum that Styx will probably bring to the EP is probably completely outmatched and outweighed by just the sheer momentum that Space Laces already has. So any genuine movement by Styx is probably minimal, but not zero and definitely not negative. So let's bring it back to Maria Southgate. Because on the surface, this tweet doesn't really have any form of significance. That is until you look at the person who tweeted that tweet. Maria Southgate, marketing and product management for Never Say Die, artist management for Bensley Music, and The Industry Standard, which is an artist management company of sorts. That's a pretty big name to be having an opinion of that sort on Twitter. Let's fill in a couple of the gaps real quick before I continue with this story. The EP from Space Laces is being released on Never Say Die, and while the tweet does not definitively outline Styx as the person who is doing the bootleg, it doesn't take that big of a genius to put two and two together for a few reasons. Number one, information spreads very fast, and Space Laces is massive. So the announcement of a bootleg was also getting a bit of traction, as well as people getting traction for pointing out that sometimes people will release bootlegs the day after. The second piece to this story is that Styx themselves actually responded to the tweet by announcing that, hey, I was just excited for the song, I'm sorry, I didn't realize what I did was weird, Disco Bloodbath was a track that got me into production, and I just blindly did what I did. As I mentioned earlier, this isn't a song that has never been heard before, that has only been recorded on screen rips or MP3, YouTube, iPhone to MP4 audio. This is a song that has been ripped directly and uploaded to YouTube for nearly a decade now. Anyone could have had the opportunity to remix this song and put it out. That said, however, there is definitely the argument for releasing the song a day after its official release. I'm not going to defend it because I've done it too. Personally, I don't really think it's that big of a deal as long as you wait for after the official release, of course, which is what Styx was going to do. However, as I mentioned, even though Styx wasn't directly named, the tweet and the general sentiment did receive a good amount of momentum for Styx to eventually put forward an apology. I've taken down all of my works from 2018 to 2022. I don't want to be a burden on the community I'm a part of, especially if it houses my closest friends and inspirations. I made the bootleg as a for fun piece when I rediscovered the 2011 mix cut on Space Laces SoundCloud. When I saw the original was coming out, I excitedly plastered a modified version of the release art and slapped a dumb sticker on it with the text, "Remix of Disco Bloodbath by Space Laces." Ripping songs isn't something I have done very much at all in the past. I purchase all of my friends' music and do what I can to support my community. I appreciate all the love and support over the years. All of the negative pushback and all the names I've been called, being told I'm the biggest fuck up in the EDM scene all year, that I'm just a clout chaser, and that I'm a thief, it's pushed me too far mentally. I can't stay anymore. Thank you for those who stuck around. At the end of the day, this is a pretty open and shut case. Styx announced an unofficial bootleg of a song that was going to be released again. The day afterwards, a staff member of Never Say Die subtweeted Styx. Styx apologized, pledged that they would not be releasing the remix, and has since deleted their discography after the amount of pushback that they had received. At one point, before the apology, Styx actually received a DMCA takedown of his tweet because it was using media from Never Say Die. And legally speaking, Never Say Die does have the ability and the right to take down media that isn't posted with their permission. If you look at the contact page for Never Say Die, they actually do have a little sentence that says, "Do not bootleg without prior permission." And while I can't speak on behalf of Styx as to whether or not he had permission, one could assume that Styx might not have had permission to bootleg Disco Bloodbath. So simply from a legal perspective, this entire thing has Never Say Die, Space Laces, management, legally in the right. But there is no way, if you believe, I'm going to leave this as an open and shut case. I want to bring it back to Maria. Maria, you have a position of power, of influence, and of authority. You aren't just a random person on Twitter. You are somebody who works at Never Say Die. You manage artists. I tweeted this on Twitter. What was the goal of the tweet? This could have been a learning opportunity, handled privately, but as someone in your position, it's extremely discouraging and disheartening to see how this was handled. So unnecessarily aggressive and snide, and with no actual counterpoints. It's extremely annoying when I go on Twitter and on social media and I see how people hate EDM Twitter, or they hate, certain subreddits of communities because of how toxic it is. And yet I feel like as somebody who could be established as a role model, somebody who people look up to and follow, it was extremely irresponsible to tweet something like this as somebody who, again, has a following, has connections, and works at the very label that would have a direct conflict of interest with a bootleg situation. Like I said, Never Say Die, Space Laces, and their team are completely legally in the right to submit a copyright takedown and to ask Styx to not release the bootleg. But why did the whole situation have to come down like this? As I mentioned earlier in this video, I started by bootlegging mashups. You can scroll back and I have years worth of content of just me making mashups of music, of trends, of memes that literally came out or got popular within a couple days. From a personal note, every time I've ever made a mashup of a new artist or of a new record label, I personally would try to do my due diligence in reaching out to them to be like, hey, will I have any issue with copyright? Because frankly, I've had so many copyright strikes on my channel that the last thing I want to do is completely lose all of my hard work. Styx could have done their due diligence to search up if they legally were allowed to release the remix? Sure. Could they have waited a couple days longer to release it? Sure. But why did this whole thing have to become a public spectacle? There were some people saying that after the DMCA takedown that was put on Styx's Twitter, that Styx actually reposted the announcement tweet. I cannot confirm or deny because I haven't seen screenshots, but if that's the case, that is once again on Styx to have not have done that. But I feel like there's almost an unspoken rule that remixing stuff the day after is sort of a gamble that people are willing to take. And like I mentioned earlier, Disco Bloodbath is very unique because the entire song has been available for ripping, for remixing, for playing for a decade now. It's not like this was an unreleased track or a leak. Maria, I feel like you could have very well reached out to Styx privately and tried to solve the situation in a much more amicable matter. Or at the very least, if you decided you wanted to publicly tweet about it, you could have explained, hey, this is why you shouldn't do that. And something else that just really annoys me is how some people acted like this was a very unique case, that no one has ever released a bootleg the day after a song has come out. This has been going on for years now. And if we're going to talk about things that really need to change in the scene, I want to personally highlight two very important things. A, you work for Never Say Die. B, you work for an artist management company. What those two things have in common is they both support Trampa, who as of a few months ago had sexual assault and rape allegations come out against them. If you want to solve things in the scene, why don't we try addressing the very important things head on, such as the fact that Trampa has yet to respond to those allegations. As a quick aside, a couple of years ago, I made a video about Datsick. I've also made videos about Aerocord, and I've made videos about Graves. All people that have had sexual assault allegations come out about them and that I've reported on. Since then, I've had a number of people victim blaming in the comments or being apologists for people who have allegedly sexual assaulted. I'm just going to try to tip an olive branch to those people who might find this video. Rape and sexual assault is a very sensitive topic and not one that I believe should be rushed. At the end of the day, Trampa can very well not respond. But as a public figure, I do believe you owe some form of acknowledgement or of a response to your community and followers. Personally, I don't even believe Trampa has to respond with a full-fledged response. Sometimes people want to go down the legal route, and as such, they are not legally allowed to respond or give up details because their lawyers might advise them to say that. And so what would I say? Just say, hey, we're taking this to court and I can't talk about it. There were two other artists that were named, that being Gammer and 12th Planet, which while they did wait quite a while to respond, did eventually respond with their own responses. I will not be covering the allegations nor the responses in this video, but the point is, rather than nitpicking on people bootlegging music from your label, why don't we try figuring out the whole situation on whether or not an artist that you associate with, that your label associates with, that your artist management associates with, still has yet to respond against allegations of rape. I feel like that might be a bit more important. Personal opinion, but hey, that's just my thoughts. When I started off in the scene, I was getting copyright strikes from people at Monster Cat. I've gotten striked on SoundCloud, I've gotten striked on YouTube, and it's extremely demoralizing. Luckily for myself, I feel like I have an amazing group of people behind me that support me. I feel like mentally I'm very strong and sound. And so while things can get demoralizing or make me want to give up, I've always pushed through. But that is only of myself. And you don't know what anyone else is going through. I feel like it's really easy to dismiss someone like Styx as just somebody who's clout chasing or just wants to get plays or is just trying to get seen. But the thing is, Styx is not that. And I feel like this is also another reason as to why I feel extremely involved with this situation and have such strong feelings, is because I know who Styx is. If you've been following me on my channel for a very long time, Styx has also gone by the name of Yggdrasil and has also gone by the name of Gabe. I've uploaded mashups and remixes and bootlegs of his music before. I'm not going to say I'm his friend or that I know him or that I'm close to him, because the last time I really talked to him was 3 years ago. But what I do want to say is that it's really easy to make this whole situation black and white. One person's in the right and one person's in the wrong. It's so easy to just dehumanize people and just to throw labels on them as clout chasers, and whatnot. Because when you really look at who Styx is and what they've done, you'll come to learn that they've done really great things, such as running a label for suicide prevention. On the topic of bad actors in the community, they've also came out with allegations against Dill for grooming, which, if you don't know, was a moderator for Monster Cat socials and as well as once featured on a track with Fowler on Monster Cat. If you go back even farther, Styx, also known as Gabe, also known as Yggdrasil, has come through some very hard times. And so this whole situation to me, while it's not necessarily related, definitely feels like Styx just simply cannot catch a break, and that quite literally living through living hell right now. If there's one thing that I think people should take away with this, I think we should have a lot more nuance and kindness online. Because in a world that is just, I feel like we could have just had a very nice open dialogue about, hey, maybe you shouldn't be bootlegging people's music the day after. But the way that this whole thing came down just seemed extremely unnecessary. It was the wave of harassment and of unnecessarily hateful comments towards Styx, and now a wave of harassment in return to Maria, which, while personally I feel like is slightly more justified, being that they are in a position of authority, of responsibility, and could be seen as a role model, could have been completely avoided if Maria was just slightly more kind. Gabe, I don't know if you're watching this video, but if you are watching this video, I hope that you return, and I hope that you continue making music, and maybe even one day we'll have the opportunity to release your Disco Bloodbath remix. But if you decide to stay off the internet, I completely understand that as well, and I just hope that you're able to continue living a life that is fulfilling to you. You've gone through a lot, and I can completely understand why you probably not want to come back after everything that you've gone through. To everyone else, if you want to find cool music, I would definitely recommend checking out Half Heart Project. They're a charity label that donates all the proceeds to suicide prevention. If Maria happens to be watching this, Maria, I believe you owe Styx an apology. As much as Never Say Die is legally in the right to take down Styx's bootleg, issue DMCA copyright takedowns, and the such, if you check out Styx's replies and his apology online, I feel like he's apologized very well for everything that has happened. And I feel like your unwarranted subtweet, which dare I say is on the level of a high school gossip, please act better. And please, give an apology. You didn't deserve that. While there were a number of people that were critical on Styx, I felt like there were a lot more people that were critical on Maria and Never Say Die, and even of the likes of Wooly and More Kismet, whose screenshots I will put on the screen right now. More Kismet, I think, was very interesting. I literally blew up when I was 13 because I made a remix of my friend's Never Say Die release. They gave me an ultimatum to either get it striked forever or to release it officially. And since I was already getting threats for it getting taken down originally, I opted to sign in. It sucks. Hey, me from the future again with the second thing that I wanted to add into this video, and it is that there's been an update while I was making this video. Space Laces themselves have actually responded to the situation. They replied to More Kismet's tweet with, "I'm not active enough on socials to catch everything, but I genuinely love hearing bootlegs of my stuff. Was curious to check this one out too. If anyone has Styx's contact, I'll reach out." This entire situation always kind of felt like it wasn't at the hands of Space Laces pushing the buttons or the dials. And so seeing that Space Laces has actually acknowledged the situation and acknowledged it in such a positive and polite way really brings me hope that there will be a happy ending, hopefully, through all of this. I believe Space Laces has managed to get in contact with Styx, but I cannot confirm or deny that. And yeah, just hoping that we get a happy ending out of all this. But that's all I wanted to say. Back to the original outro. See you. Hey, this is part 3. I went to sleep. I woke up. I already exported and uploaded the video. But there's been one more update, and I believe this is going to be the final one. At least this is going to be the final one that I add to this video. We have an update from Styx. They have since tweeted out another statement. Hi everyone. Thank you all for such kind words and love. All the positivity is making me feel a hell of a lot more motivated than before, and it's helping me bounce back from this emotionally. Life hasn't been perfect for me. I've dealt with many rough obstacles like homelessness and an abusive upbringing my entire life. I've worked 50 hours a week for the past couple months to stay afloat, along with running and managing my charity label, the Half Heart Project, and the stress along with the pressure and shit I was getting pushed me over. I talked to Space Laces and his words were very kind and supportive. I will be releasing the bootleg in a few days with his consent. I will come back, although I'm still unsure about when or if I want to republish all my works. Once again, thank you all so incredibly much for helping turn this really rough point into a potential leap forward for me, and for the love that's motivating me to keep moving. Personally, really great news to wake up to, and personally, all I can really say is I wish Styx the best, and I look forward to hearing that bootleg. But yeah. I don't really know if I have anything else to say. This was a topic that got me very heated. It was a topic that I wanted to talk about. I'm kind of glad I'm back to making this YouTube video. Maybe I have more YouTube videos soon. I'm not promising anything. Would definitely like to hear your thoughts though. You guys have heard everything I have to say, and now if you guys have your own thoughts, let me know in the comment section down below. Anyways, I guess that's all from me. Yeah. See ya. Yeah.